So, the situation with the virus that shall remain unnamed kind of got me thinking. I need a project. I need something to tinker with if we eventually go into full lockdown. So, it's not like I have a shortage of bikes to mess about on, but it'd just be fun to try something new, something fresh, something I've never tried before, like a dirt jumper. And after trolling the interwebs for a little while, I found this. A 2010 GT Ruckus UF dirt jumper. With a little love, I'm sure I could get it rideable again. On closer inspection, the fork was worn out and dry, but other than that, not structurally damaged. The wheels were remarkably true given their age and intended use. The brake worked, the crank spun, but just barely, and they were missing a bolt. The grips and chain were a complete write-off though. But for 50 euros? I thought it was a steal. So this turned out to be more of a restoration rather than a bike build. Either way, I disassembled everything to see what needed to be replaced. I mean, just look at that rust. Crustier than a nun's cooch, but it's just a couple of bearings. They're cheap and easily replaceable. The fork had seen better days. I suppose it's never been serviced, but today was in for a treat. I first degreased and cleaned everything thoroughly. The foam rings were missing and I had a pair of extra ones, so they went in. The spring and damper shafts looked okay, but a little oil never hurt. On top of that, I applied a liberal layer of grease. It took a little persuasion to wiggle the uppers into the lowers, and all that was left was to tighten the bolts that hold the fork together. Now onto the headset. The old bearings ran pretty smoothly, so I decided to re-grease them and put them back in. A bit of persuasion was required there too, but nothing a rubber mallet couldn't resolve. It felt truly satisfying to see this heap of parts on my floor finally start resembling a jump bike. Next up, the seat clamp of the seat post. A little grease does wonders here too. I'm reusing the old bars until I get some wider ones, but I did get a new set of thick, comfortable lock-on grips. I installed the rear Shimano SLX brake I had lying around. Since it's lighter and more powerful than the Tektro brake that came with this bike, I also like the shape of the lever a lot more. The BB was so crusty nothing was going to save it, so I got a new one. Now, here's a trick I use when installing bearings. Bearings are made of metal, so they contract slightly when cooled. Pop them in the freezer for a little while and they should go in a lot easier. Clean bearing cups and a solid layer of grease help too. Yeah, I know I should get a bearing press, but in a pinch a C-clamp will usually work. I made sure the bearings are parallel with the cups and then pressed them in. And the cranks now spin freely. I took the crank bolts off my BMX since it has the same type of 3-piece crankset. That'll do for now until I find a new set. Next up, the chain. I cut it to the same length as the rust-infested one that came with the bike and clipped it into place with a quick link. Last piece of the puzzle, the chain tension needed to be just right and the rear axle bolts had to be tightened. So all in all, 75 euros including the parts I bought. Pretty much as budget as it gets when it comes to bikes, without compromising the quality. I'm pretty well versed in what fits my style of riding when choosing an enduro mountain bike or parts for it, but dirt jumpers I know very little about. This seemed like a gateway drug of sorts into the world of dirt jumping, and a cheap way to find out if I like it as much as I think I will. So how does she ride? Let's find out. Works beautifully on a BMX track, but those jumps have super mellow lips. What about slope-style kickers? I first warmed up on the baby line and then went bigger.
Okay, so I'm totally uncomfortable with how tiny this bike feels compared to my enduro bike. Also, I'm used to much wider bars, so while filming that one-hander, I did a bit of an oopsie and kind of missed the bar. Check it out. I didn't manage to write it out though, so it's all good, but it gave me a proper scare. So there you have it. You can have a buttload of fun on an old used bike. I mean, sure, the forks feel like overcooked noodles, but this is gonna be a great bike for me to get into dirt jumping on and maybe learn some jips. And on that note, I'm gonna end this video. If you like this kind of content, you know what to do. Like, share, subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next one.